No woman chooses to be a single mother. That's a lie. There are tons of women who purposely choose to be a single mother because in their mind, I don't want the man, I just want the baby. And I'm going to consciously choose a man I know will not fight to stay in this child's life, or that I can easily push out the way, because I don't want anyone else's influence on this child. I want this child only for me.
Wow.
I will say I've never heard that before.
Me either.
I never saw it from that perspective at all.
Yeah, it happens a lot. And I think people just assume that and I'm not saying there aren't plenty of women who did not choose to be single mothers, but there are I've had clients flat out tell me, just give me the baby. I don't want the man.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Samantha here, and I'm back with another one. So today we're going to talk about a topic that I don't really hear people talk about enough, that I know is true. So my channel, for the most part, will be debunking a lot of the myths that I see floating around in the social media streets, as far as like when it comes to people who are saying they're choosing to be child free. I have followed, so my channel, I would also consider my channel to be a Black woman empowerment channel. So I follow like a lot of other BWE content creators, but I feel like there's never quite a space for single Black mothers who love their lives, especially the ones who are living a soft life, to be in. Like, there's no space for us. I always feel like I'm in these other spaces and I'm having to kind of ignore when they are bashing single Black mothers, which is basically what it is, or like talking crap about things that a lot of times I feel the content creator doesn't even know much about, because they've never been in whatever situation they're speaking on. So a little bit of my background: I was married for almost 7 years, got a divorce back in 2011, met my ex-fiance, had more children with him because we wanted a bigger family. I always wanted a lot of kids. So I ended up leaving my ex because he became abusive. And so I can speak on domestic violence. I'm a survivor. I can speak on single Black motherhood because I'm a Black single mother. I will be speaking on Black marriage because I was a wife once. And yeah, so I have my MBA. So I have an MBA with a concentration in networking, information technology. So my background was IT, but I can also speak on that. As far as being an entrepreneur, the Black women are one of the fastest growing groups of entrepreneurs in America. Then of course I also have a degree, several degrees, and I live a soft life. So I am here to kind of like offer my take on just like mainstream things that I'm seeing, or topics that are probably becoming a bit popular and trending, but it's not really everyone's life, if it's anyone's life. Like, sometimes I feel like, social media is just an echo chamber. Like, everyone's just kind of saying the same things. People are afraid to say something different. I also find that like people are quick to put you in a box. So if you are, say, like you're a single Black mom, they'll say, okay, well, she must be a red pillar, or she must be this, or she must be that. They want to put you in this box. And we really are not a monolith. We're living in some of the most exciting times as Black people, because we really can just be who we are and do that unapologetically. So the video I just saw with Stephan Speaks, he was touching on something that I will say a lot of things I'm going to cover in my channel will be probably considered taboo, or something that people don't really talk about. So his commentary that he was having, like, he was sitting in an interview with two other women, and they looked like they were child free. They looked like they almost, like, what he said just went over their heads. And so he was saying in his video that he actually knows women who are choosing single motherhood. I repeat, there are women out there, and there are actually men as well, who choose to be single parents because they actually want to be a parent. They love children, depending on their background. Some of them even love big families. And I know it's like a gasp for that, because God forbid you have more than one child in America. I feel like we're low-key trying to be China. But yeah. So there are people out there who just love kids. They want a big family. They have dreams and aspirations for that large family. They have planned their family to be a certain way. And so I can wholeheartedly agree with what Stephan is saying to the two women. I'm not sure like what brought them to that topic or brought him to bringing that response. But I did see the one woman especially, the woman of no color, like kind of looking at him like she didn't seem to understand what he was saying. So that kind of led me to believe maybe they don't have children. They don't understand the benefit or the happiness, the joy that a parent has, and why that someone would choose this, especially doing it alone. So I'm here to tell you how it feels. It feels great. I love it. I love when I don't have to talk to another adult about my child. So I have 3 baby daddies. One, I don't even really count him because he was a deadbeat, and he was just out of the picture completely. So when I met my ex-husband, he actually had no children. And let me start all the way back to the beginning. Because like I tell you all, everything I talk about on my channel, it is very highly likely I actually went through the experience myself, and or I've seen other women very close to me go through these certain experiences, okay? So for this topic, where we're talking about parents, especially mothers, because majority of the households are led by a mother, there are mothers who are single mothers, and they actually chose this. They chose that life. And I know some of y'all are probably like, whoa, mind blown. Who would choose to raise a little bratty kid, or whatever you're thinking? But some of us actually grew up in an environment where we felt loved and safe and like an asset to the family. And so we grew up into adults where we wanted to continue to pay that forward, as far as extending the family line, building a even larger, expanding that family legacy, building that generational wealth, which you usually can only do that if you multiply yourself. So like, let's think about a CEO. If you are the boss of your own company, the fastest way you're going to be able to scale that company to make more money come into your pocket is to hire people. So now you're going to be the boss of like employees, and they're going to be all basically doing like the same job or doing various jobs. That is going to put more money in your pocket, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and only one person can only do so much. Okay, so we're human. You got to sleep at some point. You're going to get tired. So you have to outsource the work so that more can get done in the same amount of time, which will yield you greater results, greater amounts of money, right? So that's something else we're going to be talking about on my channel, is business, entrepreneurship, money, generational wealth. It all plays a hand. So I actually watched a true crime episode where this white lady basically killed her baby daddy, because they were white. Okay, so I call anyone baby dad, I don't care. But I don't think they were ever in an actual relationship. I think that they were just like a hookup, like a one night stand or a hookup or something. And it didn't work, but she got pregnant. And I think she did not even tell him about the baby because she wanted to be a mommy, but not have him in the picture. She didn't want to deal with the partner. You know, especially if you're like not even in a relationship with this person. Especially if you're not even in a relationship with this person, you're kind of just like, we had that one fun night and that's it. And now I got pregnant out of it. Sometimes women may actually do it on purpose, like get pregnant because they want babies. And let's keep it a buck. Like, adopting or having a baby through IVF or whatever is expensive. Not everybody can afford that. And realistically, not everyone's going to go that route. It's not even that easy to do that. Like, usually people who do IVF are people who can't even have children. Like, they're struggling to have children. So, like, if you can just have a baby naturally, majority of people are going to do it that way, whether they're telling you or not. They're doing it. They're creating a baby for themselves, and they may run off and not even tell you that they have the child. So with this situation, the man, I want to say like something happened, and I tried to look up the story, y'all. If I find it, I'll post it. I'll try to add it in this video, but it was crazy. Like, I think she had to tell him about the baby because I don't know if the baby was asking about the parent, or it was like something was going on where she just felt like I maybe should tell him that he has a whole kid out here. So, like, duh. But anyways, so she tells him, and I don't think she expected him to be like, wait, what? I have a whole kid? I want to be in their life. I want to get to know him. I want to be part of his life as the other half of this child. I don't think she expected that. So many men run off and they're deadbeats or whatever that I think she just thought she was going to tell him and he was going to be like, oh, okay, cool. And then like not really want anything to do with the child. I honestly think she thought he would have no interest in the child. But that did not happen. He actually wanted to be a part of his child's life. Like, once he found out, like, wow, you had a baby and I have a son out here, and he was like super wanting to be involved in his baby's life. So the mom, it got ugly, y'all. So they ended up in court, and the mom ended up, I want to say she lost custody because I think she like was trying to do some underhanded stuff like, oh, he's abusive or something. I promise you I'm going to look for this. I haven't watched it a long time ago, but this was like the first story that I thought about when I heard Stephan say that. And so she went to court with him. I think he took her to court. Like, I want custody, joint custody with my child. I want to have rights to my child. And so she went to court with him. And I think he either got joint custody or he got full custody. I cannot remember. But, oh, it was bad. So she basically was like, I think it was a snapped episode because she basically ended up killing him because she did not want him to be a part of her son's life. She had raised her son by herself for at least, I think, 2 years or something. And she just did not want to share that responsibility with anyone else because, like, people don't talk about it, but this is why I'm here. When I was a single mother with the first baby daddy, he was in the military. All the guys I talked to are like military. So they have money. Okay. So I don't date broke guys, but, he was deciding he wanted to be a deadbeat. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I was hurt for my son more than for myself because I knew like one day my child will grow up and be wondering like, where's my dad? But that's what he chose to do. So I made a vow that I would love my son enough for his deadbeat father and myself. Like, that's how much love. I was going to literally multiply that love and make sure he wanted for nothing. Because my child he's everything to me. He's 19 now, but he's everything to me. So I really enjoyed like not having to make like major life decisions with anyone. Like, I got to pick out his name, how I felt like raising him. I could raise him how I wanted, you know, my values and ideologies. I could pour it into my child and mold him into my little carbon copy, basically. Like, basically teaching him everything I know. And he is very much like me to this day. It's almost scary how alike we are. So it does exist where women will have children with a guy and not necessarily want to raise a child with that guy, but they want the baby. And I don't really care what anyone's about to say, like, oh, well, you should have picked Charles, but I don't really care. I don't care. I think all of that is BS. People are human. We're living our lives. We're doing what we do. You like what you like. You're attracted, especially when you're younger. You don't know any better. So you're just dating freely like everyone else in America and the world. And you're going to make mistakes or pick a guy that sucks sometimes, or a woman that sucks. Like, that's just life. You know, nobody's about to become an FBI profiler and know how to overanalyze people. And a lot of times, like, we do think we're picking a good partner. That person's a liar, and they turn out to be a complete loser. And I just feel like it should never really be the victim's fault or the single parent's fault for the other parent running off. That's something the other parent has to deal with. There's really nothing that the parent that stayed, there's nothing that they did wrong. You know, and of course, like, you could say, okay, well, look at his history, look at this, look at that. You shouldn't have to do all that. I mean, as a human, just do the right thing. If you make someone have a child, or you create a child with somebody, planning it, not planning it, whatever, like, do your part and be there for the child. But I know, like, if some women, there's actually another video, this woman who's dealing with this guy who's a total jerk. And sometimes the guys will use children to, like, control the mother. It's just a nightmare. So there are definitely women out there, single mothers, who chose to be a single mom. They wanted the baby. They don't want the guy. I know that's hard for people to absorb this information because we are in a patriarchy. So that means that most people are worshiping males more so than anything else, no matter how trifling they are. And so everyone has that same old traditional outlook on things, like, we all need to get married first and then have a baby, blah, 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 blah. But like I said in the beginning of the video, we're not all a monolith. So some people don't care about marriage. I was one of those people. When I saw married couples, I never saw people who were happy. I grew up with seeing a lot of abuse happening, cheating, divorces. So I never got the idea in my head, like, that's something I want one day. No, it wasn't anything. It was nothing I wanted. I really didn't think much about it. I just knew I wanted to be a mother, and I planned accordingly. So, like, if the guy was not going to be around, like the deadbeat, the first guy wasn't, I was still going to be able to take care of my child, which I did. I didn't need anyone to help me. I was on my own. I never moved back home. I had my big sister, like, who was my support system as well. She was raising my nephews, and we just did the mom thing and really enjoyed life. And then I met my ex-husband, who essentially adopted my first son. He didn't have any kids, and then we ended up having a child together. So that worked out. But it was very different for me to have to get used to the fact that now I have to run my ideas that I have for my child by another adult, like the other parent. And that was really something I didn't care to do. And of course, people can call it controlling or whatever you want to call it, but this is my truth, and I walk in it, and I'm going to speak my truth. So I did not want to be bothered. You know, your baby is, parents love their children. I mean, there's a few that are not mentally all there or whatever they're doing, but for the most part, parents love their kids a lot. And you have, like, visions and goals for that child. Like, oh, my child's going to grow up. He's going to probably be a doctor or a lawyer. He's going to do this. I'm going to help him get into Ivy League school. We're going to do it. So you, like, have all these plans. But when you have it to make decisions with the other parent, it's like that other parent may have completely different ideals for that child because they have a whole different outlook on life because they had a whole different upbringing, different culture or whatever. So they having, like, a whole different view of, like, this child's future. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first got married, I mean, I really struggled with my ex-husband, like at the time, my husband, of course. But I really struggled with him telling my son, like, what, like, just really having a say in my son's life. And of course, I had to get over that because I do not like when people have people around their children and they cannot discipline or whatever. I also think it is extremely disrespectful to bring a child into, like, you, like, say like you're dating someone and they're like, especially if they like move in with you, but basically, like, okay, I've raised my children like how my parents have raised me to respect my elders. So you are not going to just be like disrespectful to anyone, including my partner, no matter what that partner's status. Like, they could be a boyfriend, a husband, whatever, but my children are going to be respectful. And then of course, with it being my husband, I did have to give him the right to discipline our child as he saw fit as well, and trust him, because otherwise, why would I marry him if I didn't trust him to do that? So I see some women who might get married and they are like, you can't yell at my kid, or you can't do this. Like, that's a mess. Because it's like, when you marry, literally the definition of marriage is like to bring parts into union. So I can already tell you that dynamic is going to be a complete mess if you're like, basically, you're almost like basically giving that child more power over the other adult in the house. And that's not going to end well. Kids cannot have more power than the parents of the house, whether it's a step parent or not, right? So there's that. But anyways, my main thing I wanted to say about this video is that he's right. There are women and men who are, because it's like, it's hard. Like, how are you going to tell an adult what to do, right? So, and children are such a big deal. They're so important to the people who actually put value on them. You're investing a lot of time and money into them, and you have an idea where you want this to go, you know? And so sometimes it definitely is hard to put up with the other parent or someone else, like trying to help you make decisions about your child. And also, like, if you don't like the other parent, that's a whole other story. You know, like if it's a narcissistic parent, like my last relationship, he's a narcissist, and I left, and I absolutely hate parenting with him. He is not the easiest person to parent with, but we make it work somehow. But he's a headache. So narcissists are interesting because sometimes you can get them on a good day where they are normal and you can totally plan things out with them and life is great. Then there's other times where they're just very difficult to deal with, and like we've had clashes over things like where they're going to go to school, or I would tell him, you know, buy such and such for their for school, for uniforms, like they have to wear these uniforms. Just out of spite, I feel, he will like order something completely different than what I told him to order. I have the children 99% of the time. So what I'm telling you to order or whatever is what they really need. And we're not millionaires, so we don't have money to waste. So you're sitting here buying them whatever you feel like buying them. And then when it's time for the real reality to hit, when it's time for real deal life to happen, I'm the one that has to carry that load. So like if we wake up in the morning and we don't have enough pants for my child's uniform, I'm the one that has to deal with that, not weekend parent. I have to deal with that. So this is why that's an example of like something that's like why you as a parent, mother or father, because women can be narcissistic too, but that is why you would prefer sometimes to be like, I just wish I could just raise this child by myself, because the other parent is not making it easier. They're a headache, and they actually make the job harder sometimes because they're trying to, especially if they're like a narcissist or they don't like you or whatever, you all aren't getting along, then it's like they're almost like choosing the opposite just to hurt you. And we all know how narcissists function. Like they really will hurt even their own children if they want to get what they want. You know, they don't even give it a second thought. So, for people who are like, oh, you should have chose better, I didn't even know what narcissist was. before I was having kids with him. I had no clue what it was. I literally found out what it was because I was watching like true crime, and they kept talking about serial killers or narcissistic, and they were naming off qualities of a narcissist. And I looked at that show and realized that a lot of those qualities matched my ex, like stuff that he does and ways that he reacts and acts to things. And wow, I remember going through like kind of this black hole of depression when I realized I was surrounded by narcissists. Because like once you know what a narcissist is, you can't unknow it. You cannot unknow it. So I knew, like, man, I think my mom's a narcissist. My kid's father is a narcissist. Like, it was like the main two of the main people in my life were entire narcissists, and that was scary. Because I'm sitting here pregnant. I think I was pregnant with the twins when I learned of that. I'm trying to think if I was pregnant with our older child or the twins. I can't remember. But I remember I was pregnant. And that's what made it even worse, because I just was like, oh my gosh, like, what did I get myself into? So it was too late. It was too late. But now, of course, it is what it is. Like that, our children are 8 and 5. Our twins are 5. But yeah, so this is definitely a thing. And I had to give my take on that, because I think people act like, oh, being a single mom is so horrible, or kids are the worst, nobody wants kids. And it's like, come on, like people are not doing something because they don't want to do it. This is a free country where it's about as liberal as it gets. Trust me, majority of people who are having children want children. And trust me, you can look at the divorce statistics. One of the main reasons people get divorced is because of their differing views on parenting. Like, that's like a whole nother thing that people struggle with, is like the finances. Like, if you're married, you have the finances you're going to fight about. Sex life, you're not going to be compatible. And then it's children. It might be your faith as well, like maybe a religion or whatever. And then like your kids, like parenting the children is also like another sticking point for married couples or cohabiting parents, or parents who are like in a relationship together, especially if they're living together. That could be another thing that would make someone separate from the other parent. So that's all I wanted to say. I don't want this video to be too long. I just wanted to chime in on what Stephan Speaks, what that's the name of his YouTube said, or what Stephan said, because he is right. He's absolutely right. And I know people who don't want children may be like, what? Like, they just don't. You're not going to understand it. Don't even try. Like, if you don't want kids, it really doesn't even apply to you. It's just a fact that he's putting out there that I'm confirming is true. So thanks everyone for listening, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.